There we go. Okay. So, good evening, everybody. Let's see. Um, so, I don't know if I sound different or not, but I got a new microphone because my old one was starting to show its age, starting to disconnect randomly, and I've had it for. When did Dark Souls 2 originally come out? A little bit before then. So that's how old my Blue Yeti microphone was. I got a more up to date one, and it has a built in noise gate, compressor, limiter. It's great. And let's see. Can I showcase this? Hold on. I just want to. Let me unmute myself on one here. I gotta unmute my laptop for this. Hang on. Let's just try a effect here. DJ Robot, is this working? Let's see if it goes through. Oh my god, it does. It does. It does. That's great. Okay, good. Thank you, Rin. Thank you, other Rin. Okay, perfect. So the microphone's working great. It has a built-in limiter, so no more microphone cutting out whenever I pop off after beating a boss in Elden Ring or whatnot. So we're good. Okay. Okay. So let's put on some music here. Wait, did I? Of course I didn't. Hang on, VLC. I closed it out accidentally. Perfect. Just gonna drop all these in here. This sort. I think is this it? Hey, there we go. Perfect. Perfect Black Souls music. Which one was it that I wanted to start off on? Here we go. Perfect. I love this one so much. Okay. That in the background now. I have been chipping away at this project a little bit. I just need a little bit of a break since I quit my job and whatnot. So right now I'm currently just building like the skeleton, like the events that we know, like the actual like main progress of the story. We're finishing up with the DLC 3 first. Got the chat open if anyone stops by. Perfect. All right. So we're finishing up. Let's see. Arrive at the White Castle Town, encounter March Hare and Mad Hatter. But is it really them? Because they should still be in Wonderland. Anyway, I was going over the events of like Gerda, and we need to put Karnaki down here too, just like because these three are in Florence, Gerda, and Karnaki are very important to the ending. Let's see. I need to put Karnaki down because we encounter him right before we make our decision to join either Layden or Eunice. Let's see. Grim encounters Ghost Finder Karnaki. Let's see. Where is the search function for this? Is it down here now? No. Oh, there, they moved it down here. Okay. So, Karnaki. Karnaki the Ghost Finder. Here we go. This is him. Commonly referred to as Karnaki, is a confident, condescending, self-proclaimed paranormal investigator who goes around solving bizarre mysteries. He seems to have a particular attire to Grim, a suit of armor with hair poking out of the back of his helm. He carries his own shield, sword, and ghost hunting equipment along with him at all times. He can first be encountered at the Avalanche Woods, right before you make your decision to join up with Layden and Eunice. Let's see. Is there really? Yeah. Player finds themselves in Avalanche Woods. Between all the blood, fire, and bones surrounding the area, Karnaki can be observed investigating the dire situation. By Layden and Eunice. We'll add more to him if we need to. All his interactions depend on his unique progression level. The player may be locked out of some interactions if they have progressed too far in the area or picked the wrong choice. Let's see. Picking either of the options works reveal the destruction around them was caused by the lion and the unicorn. Pestering Karnaki once more leaves him slightly annoyed, asking whether the player is a fan or a beggar. The player asks, "Who are you even?" and Karnaki is surprised the player doesn't recognize him. He refers to himself as a recognized name, claiming that his name spans the world. He even makes the player aware of his goal of obtaining the crown in Winterbell. The player may kill him for his drops, but this obviously locks the player out of the quest. The players join Layden or Eunice, he will not appear in the Avalanche Woods, so you completely miss all that content. Interacting with him reveals that he is writing in his notebook about a paranormal being dwelling in the valley. And that particular paranormal being this. Oh. Can I zoom in here? Right here. The Windwalker god of the cold, Wendigo Yeti. The Wind of Winterbell. Which it is a offspring of Shub-Niggurath. Or is it? Wait a minute. I'm trying to make sense of okay. Shub-Niggurath and Yog-Sothoth are the parents of Leaf, Mary Sue. Right. I forgot. Stepdaddy. Narahotep is Mary Sue's stepdaddy. Shub-Niggurath had a thing with Narahotep over here. But this isn't their offspring. It must have been with someone else. Okay, so let's do a little bit of research into this, shall we? Hold on a sec. So, how do you spell this name? I-T-H Aqua? I-T-H Aqua. Lovecraft. This. Damn. That's the depiction of it? Is one of the great old ones and appears as a horrifying giant with roughly human shape and glowing red eyes. He's been reported as far north as the Arctic and the subarctic, where Native Americans first encountered him. That's why he's the Wind of Winterbell. Okay. He's believed to prowl the Arctic wastes, hunting down unwary travelers and slaying them in gruesome fashion. He believed to have been inspired by the Native American legend of the Wendigo and possibly the Yeti. Ithaqa's cult is small, but he is greatly feared in the far north. Fearful denizens of Siberia, Canada, and Alaska have often leave sacrifices for Ithaqa, not as worship, but as appeasement. Those who join the cult are granted immunity to the extreme cold temperatures. He often uses shuntaks. Oh, I remember. I was watching. Hayori. Yeah, that's a shuntak. Okay. I was watching Hayori again. That one, the one anime. Oh, hey, Roko. The one anime of the basically Naruto as a schoolgirl. But yeah, that's what a shuntak looks like. And she summons a shuntak, but it's really pathetic in combat apparently. May not be accurate to Lovecraft's lore though. Those who join the cult are granted immediate. Yeah. He often uses shuntaks, a colossal avian lesser race. Okay. Dereleth classified Ithaqua as an elemental of air. Yep, that lines up. Along with Hastur, Zara, and Lithorg. I can't even pronounce that. However, in at least one of the many conflicts among the great old ones, Ithaqua seems to have sided with Cthulhu against Hastur and Tatuga. Oh, the Living Flame? Yeah, the Living Flame. Chathuga, yeah. Okay, so we're learning a little bit about this. Okay, I think we got enough to go back here. Karnaki. We're getting a little sidetracked. Hey. Okay, we could take this off a loop now. We start progressing through the playlist. Join the paranormal being in the dwelling in the valley. That is Ithaqua. Confidently stating how he would confront the being and obtain the crown easily. He notices the player in front of him once more and wonders if they can be his assistant. After boasting about his reputation, he tells the player to cross the chain bridge and determine the true culprit behind the cry echoing throughout the valley. Once talking to him and exhausting his dialogue is enough to progress his quest. Interacting with him again is possible, but does not reveal anything new. This is the last opportunity for the player to kill him. If the player is killed in the Winterbell, he does not appear in the Windless Valley. If the Cheshire Cat is present, he will call Karnaki a snob in the midst of his boasting, in true Cheshire Cat fashion. After interacting with him, he will not appear in the Avalanche Woods anymore. Right. Okay. In the Avalanche... We find Gurden the second time. Okay. We need to... encounters Karnaki again before the chain bridge. And... to investigate. The paranormal being dwelling in the valley. Hey, perfect. In question. Let's see. Turn that down a little bit. Perfect. Again, I can always rewrite this to kind of make it sound better. This is just brainstorming, getting the general ideas down first. Is the Wind of Winterbell. in brackets, Ithaqua. An offspring. Wait, is it an offspring of Shub-Niggurath? That's what I need to investigate. Offspring. Relatives. Shub-Niggurath. Mother. It's confirmed right here. Hastur is his father. The king in yellow. Interesting. Yeah, so this family tree is accurate. I see. Yeah, Hastur, the king in yellow, and Shub-Niggurath, mother and father, right here, created this. Created Ithaqua. Gotcha. Of Shub-Niggurath. Wrath and Hastur. The king in yellow. I can always come back to that and add to it later if I choose to. Then we arrive at White Castle Town. Let's see. Yeah, voices are off. Okay, good. Arrive in White Castle Town. Then we deal with. Wait. Depending on if Grim reaches Kai first or not determines let's see, back to Gerda. Snow Girl. Kai and Gerda. In the temple will depend on the choices made by the player in previous locations. They will witness an argument between her and what appears to be her brother Kai. The argument will end in her shooting her brother, which in turn turns her into a madness spirit. Right. Egregious kind of. Saved or not. Oops, not that one. Then we reach Kai first. Saving Gerda. To prevent Gerda from turning into a madness spirit, the player needs to find Kai in the temple before she does. As mentioned in the previous bullet points, there are multiple places, be ignored altogether when we first meet at the White Beach. Upon arrival to the temple, the player will meet Kai in the form of a snowman. He will ask them to kill him. And asks us to kill him. If the player declines any progress through Gerda's events, like usual, she will turn. If the player agrees and kills him, the player then needs to go back to where Gerda is and interact with her to make her advance. After Gerda reaches the temple, let's see. Gerda reaches. Lament the absence of her brother, and the player will have 3 options. To kill, rape, or give her another look, or offer to look for her Kai together. If the player chooses the last option, she will accept and slowly turn into the third and final version of her fairy tale. Also, bass soundtrack. There we go. Down to about 18%. There we go. To kill, rape, or offer her look for Kai. Choosing to help her, she and slowly into the and final version of her fairy tale. And if we don't, we reach Kai first. Gerda reaches Kai first. And with what appears to be her brother Kai, and ends up shooting him, and Gerda turns into a madness spirit, a rather strong one too. Witness her, okay. Defeating her in this form will grant the player the second version of her fairy tale. This book, in contrast with the previous one, has both a title and description. The Snow Queen. No words or paintings can express my love. A pure white world only for the two of us. Forevermore you must stay by my side. And in the third one, there's an illustration of Gerda riding on a crow's back. The Snow Girl. So her fairy tale either becomes the Snow Queen or the Snow Girl. Snow Girl being the final one. With Gerda saved and her fairy tale in the player's possession, she will be an option as a summonable as a dream spirit to fight the final boss, the Grand Guignol. Just like the other summons, she's very useful. She's able to cast a lot of high damage offensive spells, all stat buffs, and to cover the companions and heals, and are guaranteed to heal to full health. Yeah, very valuable to have when fighting the final boss. And that's her madness spirit. Really interesting. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rocco. Okay, next. Oh yeah, I guess we should talk about Lindamia, huh? Because he's next, really. Or wait, no, Karnaki. Karnaki. We'll go back to him real quick. Because his, yeah. Karnaki appears behind to check on him. Okay, yeah, I'll add that later. Behind a secret door. In White Castle Town. Wonders if the crown... Looking for the crown. And we save him from... into a trap. Okay, have a good night, Rocco. Thank you for stopping by. Again, I'll expand on that later. Again, just to build the skeleton of the script. Lindamia is next. Let's see. There we go. Lindamia. Oops. Not that one. Perfect. There he is. There's the goat of the Black Trial. Black Souls 2. Oh yeah, I guess we can learn a little bit more about Lindamia now, too. Appears to be riding a Hound of Tindelos? From Cthulhu Mythos by H.P. Lovecraft. What is this? What is this creature? Like a skeleton horse? Which are extra-dimensional creatures with the ability to hop between dimensions! From sharp angles to hunt their prey. That explains why Lindamia was able to find us in Wonderland. Or not just Wonderland. We're kind of hidden in Wonderland, but it's because we temporarily left Wonderland because we entered Winterbell. That's why he was able to find us. We were pretty much hidden from everyone under Narahotep's in Narahotep's garden, but because as I said, we left to Winterbell, he was able to find us extremely easy. That's how. That's okay. That explains how he's able to just hop dimensions like that. This is referenced by his dialogue after his defeat, where he states he will hunt Grimm from every corner, which is where they typically appear from. Similar to Miranda, while Lindamia himself is an original character, he has many allusions to being a Hound of Tindelos he has many allusions to being a Hound of Tindelos other than his steed in Black Souls 2. He's compared to a dog by Heian. He can similarly appear out of nowhere, is relentless in his pursuit of prey, in his case sinners, is immortal due to being an undead as well, and even references how a Hound of Tindelos operates in Black Souls 2 by saying how he can appear out of every corner to hunt. Lindamia seems to be inspired by the Pursuer from Dark Souls 2. Yeah, I could see that. Both are immortal, undead, armored warriors. Both have something related to sin. The Pursuer seeks to atone for his sins, while Lindamia pursues sinners. Both relentlessly hunt the player in various locations. Yep, I can see that. After killing the... Oh, wait, no. This is Black Souls. This is the Lost Empire arc. Wonderland. Dead Red Hood. We don't... Wait a minute. He is supposed to appear in Dead Red Hood, which is coming out this year, hopefully. Lindamia is set to appear in the upcoming Dead Red Hood, where the events happen between Elysium and Wonderland. From what we know so far, he is still serving the Black Trial, becoming its de facto second in command, and being the only member of the Trial to be granted audience with Baphomet. In Wonderland Black Souls 2, after the events of the first game's DLC, Ending D, which leads to the events of Black Souls 2, it seems that Lindamia managed to survive and escape the Crawling One, as Red Hood mentions that he is not in Wonderland. Yeah, that is true. Grim, open your... Right. Furthermore, she says that he has been hunting Grim down, suggesting he is still actively pursuing him long after the Black Trial's destruction in the first game. What exactly he has been doing is unclear, other than pursuing him, nor as to why he simply doesn't invade Wonderland to attack Grim. It's either because we're hidden enough that he doesn't know where the hell we are, or he is afraid of Narahotep. I don't think he's afraid of Narahotep per se. But I would say he just simply doesn't know where we are. Like, Narahotep just has us completely concealed while we're in Wonderland. Nor as to why he simply doesn't invade Wonderland to attack Grim. It could be argued, however, he doesn't want to risk being erased by the... Like what Mariphilia also fears. Maraphilia's dialogue. Now is the time to stay in hiding. Can't move very well, will be risky, so I can't go, sorry. If she finds out about me, I may get erased again. That's why. I was actually correct on my assumption that he actually might be afraid of Narahotep. He also seems to not know... Surprise... I literally just said this! He also seems to not know where Grim is, as he's surprised by finally finding him in Winterbell, implying that he doesn't know the exact location of a sinner and has to rely on a higher power, like he used for Baphomet, or pure guesswork. It also seems, unlike Heian, he managed to retain his memories of Elysium, similar to Red Hood, as the first thing he asks if Grim remembers him. After their battle, he claims he has plans to not only rebuild the Black Trial, but to pursue Red Hood for as long as she continues to live as a sinner, although it's unclear as to exactly what he means by this. Well, he could put that goal to rest, because she's no longer with us. She's dead. Sadly. And we have a certain little green shit stain to thank for that. For dramatically cutting her lifespan. But anyway. Grim... Grim encounters Lindamia. Let's see. After endlessly pursuing him, dimensions. Or maybe I should phrase this the other way around. Lindamia finally discovers Grim after endlessly pursuing him across dimensions. And fight. out victorious. Grim comes out victorious. Let's see. The power of his steed. Implied to be a Hound of Tindalos. Do I need to actually go back and see what his dialogue says? Special interactions. In White Castle Town, he fought as a boss, initially asking Grim if he remembers him, being undead before engaging battle. After battle, he will state that he thought Grim would idle around in the garden before realizing that he is actually grown stronger. But he also remarks about Red Hood, telling Grim to tell her that if she continues to live as a sinner, he will hunt her down without mercy. Damien then states that he plans to rebuild the Black Trial anew. Grim's sentencing has been suspended, but tells Grim to not forget that as long as he is in a garden, he can appear at every corner. Okay. You know, I'm just gonna take all that. It's fine. Let's just do that. Paste. After the battle, he will state that... There we go. Alright, that covers Lindamia. Then we come up to either Layden or Eunice. Either Layden or Eunice on the player's choice. Who to side with? Mabel. Mabel appears in the next scene. Either Grim can save Layden. And for Eunice, we all know what happens with Eunice. The ultimate form of correction. This feminazi unicorn that she truly deserves. The ultimate form of correction. You can either rape her or let her go, which she ends up getting crucified by the other unicorns, something I forgot to showcase in my playthrough. If we let Eunice go, like, she'll go back to her other feminazi unicorns and they end up crucifying her. She's actually burning on a freaking crucifix. It's crazy. Damn. I'll. That's just extra. I'll add it later. Let's see. Yeah, Layden doesn't deserve to be killed outright. Layden's the true warrior. But unfortunately, you also kind of, since her mission's done, like, she basically has no purpose anymore other than to be a mother, which you forcing yourself upon her is actually her best outcome because that was what she wanted. Practically openly inviting you to take her by force so that she can be a mother. Since her mission as a warrior and is done, and since Node is no longer the Queen of Winterbell, she's been gone a long time. Yeah, like she has no purpose anymore. Yeah, us throwing her into the dungeon and forcing ourselves on her is actually you saving her. And also, funnily enough, when you think about it, us correcting Eunice for being a disgusting feminazi unicorn, Misandrous feminazi unicorn, you're actually saving her by correcting her. Because, yeah, if she runs away and goes back to her people, she dies. So yeah, raping her is actually saving her in this situation. It's crazy. Insane. Saving her from a worse fate. All right. Grim meets up with Mabel. Into Winterbell. Into Winterbell proper. Four memories can be discovered. There we go. There may be a better way to phrase that, but we'll go with that for now. Four memories could be saved. The visual novel segment. Upon entering the castle, you discover Karnaki is dying. During the final boss. Now we get to the good stuff. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Lord. Let's go back to the chain bridge. Playwright Lord. Invades. On the chain bridge. for the first time. Aided again by Playwright Lord. By Playwright Lord. Disguised a friendly summon. Only to backstab us. Upon opening a chest. As a heavy reference to... What's the one motherfucker from Dark Souls 2? Dark Souls 2... Invader... It's not... I don't think it's Dennis. Not the Forlorn. Elam Lois. How do you spell Elam? How do you spell Elam Lois? Oh, I butchered that, no doubt. Ivory King. That's not him. No, it isn't. Hex or Nikolai? Oh, the friendly white phantom, yeah. The friendly white phantom. Maldron the Assassin. That's who it is, I think. Yep, he also appears in the second DLC. He's the one that runs away like a little coward. How hard can Maldron the Assassin go fuck us? That's accurate. Yep, okay, so it's Maldron the Assassin. It's a heavy reference to Maldron the Assassin from Dark Souls 2. I'm going to go ahead and throw that little tidbit in there because that's hilarious. Also, I love this boss BGM. Great. I just love Black Souls as a soundtrack so much. Okay, yeah, we covered Lord. Back up ahead. Okay. Okay, so we want to go to Mabel now, right? Black Souls Research, Mei. Let's see. Yep, that's it. There it is. Mabel in the room with the red carpet and the doll, waiting to be crushed by the walls moving towards her. Let's see. Winterbell. Depth 1. This is the Chaos Dungeon. Yeah, hers is huge. Her H scenes. She, like many of the Outer Gods, was invited to participate in Wonderland breeding program devised by the Crawling One and Node. what this one is, but let's see. After quitting her role in Wonderland, Mabel would meet... No... Da 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 da... There we go. Prick would propose a different solution. His plan entailed having Grimm defeat the Grand Guignol and then having Node, Dinah, and Prickett help him escape the so-called Curse of Cycles by fending off the Crawling One. This plan comes to fruition in ending H. Mabel doesn't seem to be directly opposed to this different plan, as she was told about it by Prickett, but she doesn't help with it either, as per Node's request. In case of both of the solutions, Mabel terminates her current body vessel once she and Grimm reach the execution site built for her in Winterbell's castle. She most likely did this so that because of her fear of developing feelings for Grimm, similar to that of Narhotep and Node. Her original goal was, she wanted us to combine with the Grand Guignol. I'm trying to find that. It's also very likely Mabel in secret used this opportunity. Once helped, killed, and put all the other various souls of other Aller gods in her chaos dungeon, as evidenced by the one she summons during her fight and her conversations with little sister Alice. Wait. Chaos dungeon. The black goat who births madness. Oh, yeah. You can fight Shub-Niggurath in the chaos dungeon, can't you? Description of the black goat who births madness. She is omnipotent, all-powerful, and exists as an entity outside of time and space. She calls herself a viceroy, and is most likely more powerful than Azazoth, who is presumed to be the entity Grimm encounters on the moon in Oxford University. Said to be capable of erasing the whole universe if they wake up. She was one of many partners or consorts of the Black Goat, Baphomet. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Partners or consorts. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. There's no true romance like with Eldritch Outer Ones. Like, they know nothing about the concept of love. Which is why Narahotep went mad trying to understand human emotions and love. When it comes to Grimm. Let's see, she holds dominions over many gardens, but the realm she seems to treasure the most is her chess world, Shatranj. She constructed said realm by gathering and collecting various locations, items, and souls from other realms such as the Lost Empire, Wonderland, and Winterbell. Evil seems to mostly keep to herself and played her role. She did, however, use her participation as an opportunity to collect various Kuros for her garden, and seemingly assisted the Crawling One in defending Wonderland by entrapping one of the hostile gods. Oh, yeah, the former... this is supposed to be the one of the original rulers of the castle of the Red Queen's castle. Yeah. Or not Red Queen, but the Queen of Hearts. That area. Use the opportunity to... what is her original goal? That's what I'm trying to decipher here. I'm trying to brush up on my lore here. While she indirectly denied having helped the Crawling One and used Wonderland as a trap for the other gods, her nature as a collector and her intention to trap even the Crawling One in the future makes her words in the recording less believable. After quitting her role in Wonderland, Mabel would meet with Node in the latter's realm, Winterbell, and talk to her about Node's newly developed feelings for Grimm. Mabel would at first just mock Node, refusing to believe that she would give up her status as the Queen of Winterbell, and that an outer god is capable of understanding human emotions. Even so, she would propose to Node a plan to end the Crawling One's theater in Wonderland, and as a consequence, save Grimm. Her plan entailed on letting Grimm access the past version of Queensland, called Winterbell, in order to reach the Grand Guignol, the mechanical outer god made with Mary Sue's power of creation, and to make him merge with it to create a new one, a new great one, to rival even the Crawling One. This plan comes to fruition in the unnamed ending too, which ends up in a game over, which is you submitting to the Grand Guignol. Okay, that's it. That's what I was looking for right here. To reach them. Yeah, this right here. That's what I'm looking for. Designed for her. So she can terminate her current vessel. She did this out of fear of developing feelings for Grimm, just like the Crawling One and Node did. I'll expand on that later if need be. After that, Playwright Lord needs us one last time. Nation and Guignol. Is not the one he created. And seemingly gets erased by Mabel, because he just gets blinked out of existence. And it's assumed that Mabel's the one that just completely deletes him out of existence. Grimm summons, optionally. Florence, Gerda, and Karnaki. The final boss. Grimmin's, oh, I guess I should, let's see. If Grimm decides to become one with the Grand Guignol. Yeah, let's see. The unnamed ending. This one. Let's see. Unnamed ending. DLC 3. Unnamed ending. Grand Guignol. pick offer my soul while interacting with the Grand Guignol, or give up after losing to it. Grim will ascend to godhood and become a creator, planning on waging war against Naruhotep and the other gods. On his side is Node, prepared to bear his children and love him for eternity. It's to let's rephrase this. Decides to offer my soul or give up after losing to it. Grim ascends to godhood as a creator to wage war against the Crawling One and other gods. Node being by your side to bear his children for eternity. There we go. Let's put this in huge. Let's italicize this. Oh, it was already italicized? Are you serious? Wait. Here we go. Whatever. Yeah, everything's italicized. Oh, wait, no, it's... There we go. Got it, got it, got it. That looks a little better. Italicize. Alternatively, if Grim picks Offer My Soul or gives up after losing to it, Grim ascends to godhood and becomes a creator to wage war against the crawling chaos, Naruhotep, and other gods. Node being by your side, prepares to bear your children and love you for all eternity. Perfect. That is the unnamed ending. Then, in the best possible ending, on the way to the hell and heartbroken ending, Grim destroys the Grand Guignol, along with the spirits of Dr. Florence, Gerda, and Karnaki, and puts an end to the endless looping nightmare once and for all, and triggers the collapse of Wonderland. All right, I think that fills in the gaps there. Perfect. Now we can just start putting in everything else. After the events of Little Girl's Nightmare, that's ending G. Okay. Right, now we could start throwing in little tidbits here and there. I need to... Probably not a good time to do it on stream because it's going to be hit or miss. But whenever I remind myself of something that could be fit in here, I need to write it down so I can come back to it. Alright. So, from the very, very, very beginning, Jabberwock is responsible for Mary Sue's warped personality. Hinted at from the Little Girl's Nightmare during Jabberwock's boss fight. It all began with a fairy tale given to a child starved for a mother's love. The one who created her warped soul is none other else but me. This is the joy of creation. Jabberwock curses Vernai's clan and the rabbits of the rabbit hole to drink her blood and give them an insatiable appetite for flesh. Thus, drinking the blood of an old god would usually do to you. Drinking the blood of an old one causes insanity and grants power to a select few. Mabel also confirms this. Vorpal beheads and weakens Jabberwock for cursing his clan. Mary Sue takes Jabberwock's corpse to Elysium, her garden. Mary Sue kidnaps a young girl named... This is the events of Red Hood's Woods. Kidnaps a young girl named Lecky, mentioned by Elizabeth in Black Souls 2, and turns her into Little Red Riding Hood, into the Little Red Riding Hood fairy tale, and has her mind wiped. Jabberwock's influence on Mary Sue is also responsible for Red Hood's terrible childhood life, being raped and abused by her fake grandfather. And while her fake grandmother was turning a blind eye to everything, she knew what was going on. It was very likely that she was a student before being kidnapped. She was also despised by Alaroon, one of her classmates. She mainly appears in Red Hood's Woods as a boss in the Mushroom Village, but also in Wonderland, what is likely the original location of Mary Sue used as inspiration. We can infer it's her due to the various locations, to her original appearance, and her proximity to Green Power, one of Red Hood's one of the spells in Red Hood's kit. Her boss drop. In Wonderland, she laments Red Hood being chosen to be the heroine despite Alaroon being a better student. She seems to hate her viscerally and used to bully her. Similarly to Red Hood, she is sometimes referred to by XX, hinting that her real name might be different. Despite all this, Red Hood has no recollection of her. And the clues that we are given that she was a former student is because her dialogue when it comes to Oxford University outside of it. A university, how nostalgic. Why did I just... Red Hood's Woods, her hentai scene, Alaroon after being defeated. The rape scene Alaroon does on Red Hood after we lose to her. Like it or not, you're remembering me, right? Your dear classmate, XX. Red Hood, nah, I don't remember. You. Then I'll just bully you more. Yeah, bully her into making her come. Don't bully me, I'll come. Mushroom Village, Alaroon behind a closed door. I can't believe she was chosen. I excelled in every subject, and yet it was that gloomy girl who was picked. Frustrating, unforgivable. I was meant to be the heroine, not anyone else. Next time we meet, I'll have fun with her until she begs me to kill her. The events of Red Hood's Woods begins. Her parents die, and she is taken in by fake grandparents created by Mary Sue and mercilessly raped by her grandfather while her grandmother knew what was going on. Red Hood manifests Poro the wolf into existence. Red Hood gives up on being saved and kills her grandfather, and she kills her grandfather and feeds his remains to Poro, thus giving Poro an appetite for flesh. The grandmother witnessed the event and ran away and died by falling into a river, comically. Mary Sue resets the world and erases Red Hood's memories and is set on a new adventure across different nearby lands. Red Hood regains her memories on a journey and has self-awareness that the world she's in is fake. Red Hood defeats her grandmother, resurrected by Mary Sue, but this does not free her from Mary Sue's influence. And she is shelved until Black Souls 1 by Mary Sue, only later to become a prostitute. Lewis Carroll, born January 27th, 1832. Lorana Liddell, born in 1849. Alice Liddell, born in 1852. Edith Liddell, born in 1854. This one I'm not too sure about where it goes. Dinah, the Cheshire Cat, was the family pet of the Liddells and loved Alice most. Dinah gave birth to two kittens named Kitty and Snowdrop, just like her counterparts from Alice in Wonderland. Dinah would pass away from complications from pregnancy, from childbirth, it looks like. Dinah's soul would be saved by Node and possibly used Mabel's Chaos Dungeon to salvage her soul and to become an outer one. It's like, why? Like, it's going to be hard to pinpoint the timeline of this in particular regarding Cheshire Cat, because how would Node even know? It's like, why would Node take any particular interest in this random cat? Because the crawling one has no knowledge of Lewis Carroll or his works until much later in life. It's weird. It's like, I don't know where you would put this in the timeline, genuinely. That's why I put asterisks around it. Anyway, moving on. Henry Liddell, the Dean of Oxford University's Christ Church College, hires Carroll as a mathematician and worked for 25 years, starting from 1850 to 1881. Lewis Carroll built a strong relationship with the three Liddell sisters a couple months after Frederica Liddell, the dean's niece, introduced them on April 25th, 1856, during a photo session with Reginald Southey. The relationship between Carroll and Henry and Mrs. Liddell wasn't that great. Pretty rocky relationship. The latter part of 1856, Mrs. Liddell asked Lewis Carroll to stop taking pictures. Carroll understood he was being a little intrusive. Miss Prickett, the Liddell family's governess, which is basically just a glorified babysitter, allowed Carroll to see the sisters while Mr. and Mrs. Liddell were on vacation. Unfounded rumors that Lewis Carroll had an affair with Prickett. Again, unfounded. But this is also where the only sentient part of Narahotep comes into play. Where is she? Where are you? Prickett, where are you? I should have put you a little higher up, right? Prickett, 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 where are you? Looking. Mabel, Node, Crawling One, Grand Guignol, Jub Jub, Eraphilia, Bernai, Dodo, Twins, Hatta, March Hare, Griffey, Bill, Shisha, Humpty Dumpty, Cootie, Prickett, there you are. Prickett. Hence where Prickett comes from. The only sentient and autonomous part that's able to think independently from Narahotep. Carroll began writing Alice's Adventures in Wonderland in 1862 during a boat trip. During publishing, Carroll's relationship with Alice began to fade. Her mother limited him access to Alice and her sisters from July until December 1863. He didn't see them at all, and after that, rarely. The reason for the break has been a source of much speculation. Probably, yeah. Something that would probably get you thrown into a wood chipper. Whether it's true or not, we don't know, and we'll probably never know. 1864, Carroll gives Alice handwritten illustrated version of the book as a personal gift. The Red Castle Fristle memory. This is one of the memories from Black Souls 2 that you can uncover, and is required to get to ending G. Yes. 1865, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland was published to the public with John Tennell's illustrations that are so iconic. Edith Liddell dies in June 26, 1876, of measles or peritonitis, which is a really awful way to go. Alice marries Reginald Hargreaves in 1880. Carol was in prison but did send gifts through a friend. And this is another big one. At some point in her life, Lorana Liddell decided to offer her soul to the outer gods in an attempt to be with Lewis Carroll. I didn't know where to place this on the timeline, but this is important. Her plea was heard most likely by Naruhotep, and she got transported to Wonderland. Similarly to Dinah, the Cheshire Cat, she was made into an eldritch being. Even though she's now one of them, she doesn't seem to be on the same level as one of the outer ones, and her human origin still remains. Her sprite for her dialogue at Zero Sen is different from all the other demon beasts, implying that she still has her humanity, implying that she is a being of a different nature. So again, anything with these asterisks, I don't know exactly where to put properly, but I put them down because they're still very important. Alice Liddell publishes her memoirs in November of 1932, which could maybe be The Christmas Party, The Beach of Grief Memory. Beach of Grief Memory. Alice invites Carol to a Christmas party around 1930 to 1932. Lewis Carroll is then taken by Mary Sue. He is spirited away. Carol, horrified by Alice no longer being the young, beautiful girl and as an old woman, runs out of the party. Carol, heartbroken and mentally broken, makes his wish to be heard. And this is the dialogue from the memory. Lewis Carroll: how many years has it been since then? Still a friendless bachelor, still spending all my time on math, photography, and writing in a gloomy attic. Every single night, the dazzling smile of that little girl comes to my mind. I'd already grown old. I only wanted to see Alice one last time before I died. I hope that right away my hope was answered. A letter arrived for me, an invitation to... Okay, wait a minute. Are we back? What? Testing? OBS just hard crashed on me. I have never had that happen before. Well, shit. Okay, I apologize. 1 second. Wait. What? Where is Word document? Is that it? No, that's the entire screen. What, hold on. Idle Pricket. That's it. That is weird. I have never had that happen before. Okay. Well, shoot, that's gonna split my VOD, isn't it? Oh well. We should be okay now, though. There we go. Okay. Anyway, where were we? An invitation to a Christmas party. The sender, Alice Liddell. I was trembling with joy. How many years has it been? I wonder how Alice is doing. Will she let me take a picture of her again? On the appointed day, I headed to the venue looking just as I had been on the day we parted. Ignoring all the others, I was the only one looking for Alice, and yet I couldn't see the little girl anywhere. Mr. Carroll? Teacher, is that you? The hoarse voice of an old woman called my name. In the end, I turned to face her. Wrinkly skin colored by protruding blood vessels, bony arms, discolored hair. I get it. I'm such a fool. Deep in my heart, I already knew, didn't I? The little girl wouldn't remain so forever. Oh, that scared me. Hang on a sec. Unable to think straight, I rushed out of the party. The hollering of a downpour ridiculed me as I ran. She had married. She had lived a rich life. My dream stain broke and vanished. In my heart, there was nothing left of it. A pile of old photographs and a single copy of a fairy tale greeted my dripping form back home. In them, even now, Alice is still a little girl pestering me for stories. Time is a cruel mistress. I want to go back to those days. If there's a God, please hear my wish. Seems like you'll make fine material. Allow me to use you, okay? A disgusting high-pitched voice pierced my head. Grimm is created by Mary Sue, composed of many different souls, of many different great authors. Those confirmed to be Lewis Carroll, the Brothers Grimm, which is Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm. That's 2 souls right there. That's 3. Theorized pretty much almost confirmed. L. Frank Baum, which is the Wizard of Oz. H.P. Lovecraft, again, not explicitly confirmed, but kind of hinted at. Charles Perrault. Who was Charles Perrault again? Remind me real quick. Charles Perrault books. Oh, Cinderella. Right. Yeah, Charles Perrault made Cinderella. French author and member of the Academy Francois. Okay. Paris, France. Bluebeard. Oh, he made Bluebeard too. And Bluebeard is another madness spirit in Black Souls 2. Okay. And hinted at, although practically confirmed, is what was his name? Christian Andersen? Snow Gerda. This is another really fascinating detail about Gerda in particular. Hans Christian Andersen. That's his name. Let's just go ahead and... Oh, that was annoying. Okay. Okay, here we go. That's perfect. Let's give him respect the respect that he deserves. Hans Christian Andersen. Hans Christian Andersen. Heavily hinted at by Mary Sue herself. Hans Christian Andersen, the one who wrote The Little Match Girl, which is one of the main girls you come across in Black Souls 1. Red Shoes, and The Girl Who Trod on the Loaf. Never heard of that one in particular. But he also made, was it The Snow Queen? He also wrote in The Snow Queen. Popular theory is that Hans Christian Andersen in Grimm's body is pushing him to kill Gerda. Because when you first encounter Snow Girl Gerda, there are a bunch of summon signs around her telling you to kill her. The reason for this is because Hans Christian Andersen, let's see, what was it? Anderson repeatedly depicts impoverished or suffering characters finding their ultimate peace only in death or the afterlife. This has led to many people to interpret it as Anderson saying that poor people of his time could only find happiness through death, which is most likely the reference here. That's why there's so many summon signs around Gerda telling you to kill her. It's a direct reference, or kind of like implied, around like what Anderson kind of wrote his stories around, which is really dark. It's confirmed that Anderson is part of Grimm because of Mary Sue's dialogue back in Black Souls 1's Ending C. Right. Ending C. That also reminds me, I need to put this down before I forget. Ending C. DLC 1, that's for Black Souls 2. Right. Or it looks like I did. I did do this. I did this today, actually. Right. Okay, I did. Grim Center. This is the terrible tragic hotel in DLC 1 and Black Souls 2. And Red Hood pretty much flat out confirms that you've never used the tragic hotel to kill your compatriots, because ending C, back in Black Souls 1, is the one where you finally confront Mary Sue herself and kill her. And in order to get to her, you have to kill all your companions and put their fairy tales in the kill room in order for everything to fall apart and confront her finally. And because even after you do ending C, the entire world gets reset anyway. So this is just another. It's just another scenario that ends up being looped. So it never happened. The only canon ending, like the only one that truly matters, is ending D, which is the DLC, which after you defeat Shub-Niggurath, you defeat Shub-Niggurath, aka Baphomet. You confront, you learn the fact that Shub-Niggurath is Mary Sue's mother. And because we kill her, Shub-Niggurath makes one last final plea. And who else hears that plea other than Narahotep? And that was how Narahotep is able to finally infiltrate Elysium and to take us back to Wonderland. Ending, wait, yeah. All the way back here. Events of Black Souls 1. Black Souls 1 begins. Yeah. Baphomet makes a dying wish, allowing the crawling chaos Narahotep to finally enter Mary Sue's garden to take Grim back. No one manages to prevent Narahotep from killing Mary Sue, and instead steals her power, makes her powerless. Let's see. Anyway, back to... We're skipping around a bit here. Yeah, okay, so Hans Christian Andersen gave him the proper respect that he deserves. Red Hood and Poirot get reused in the Lost Empire Elysium as a prostitute. I don't know why I have those bullets there. I probably thought about something. Queensland memory, Alice assumed to be absorbed by the Crawling One during this time. This is pretty much at the end of Alice Hargreaves' life in real life. Hargreaves was enthralled by the stars. The selfish god crawled closer. The world changes, and the fantastic tales which were meant to be over were about to begin once more. And then Narahotep creates Wonderland as their garden. This is where Wonderland probably originally began. And then Narahotep, who took an interest in human emotions and humans in general, the concept of human love, lures Grim away from Elysium to Wonderland. This is where the Endless Tea Party memory comes into play. Narahotep falls in love with Grim / the Lewis Carroll side of Grim after finally understanding what human love is. Prayer Master, seeing Grim and Narahotep or Alice together under the guise of Alice Liddell, gets insanely fucking jealous, makes a wish for us to be separated, allowing Mary Sue to heed his prayer to steal Grim back to Elysium. And because of this, Narahotep goes mad trying to understand human emotions, and because she couldn't find us. And this is where the events of Black Souls 1 begins. Leaf sends Grimm on a never-ending, repeating loop of saving the Lost Empire from the demonic princesses with varying outcomes each time for her own personal sadistic amusement. Grimm finds out the truth of Mary Sue and Ending C, but the world still resets. Grimm uncovers the Black Trial in Baphomet. I probably need to expand a little bit more on this, but like the way you go about with Black Souls 1 like is so kind of is a little bit more open-ended. It's like you can like you can meet these characters and do these things, but they all don't matter at the end. I don't know. Anyway, Grimm uncovers the Black Trial in Baphomet. Good Witch Glinda summoned Baphomet slash Shub Niggurath to Elysium as planned by Leaf slash Mary Sue to be another actor in her garden, because she just wanted to show her mother what she made, basically. And Good Witch Glinda best friends with Dorothy. Actually, that's probably I should probably make a note of this. Regarding Dorothy, I was looking into her a little bit more today, and like her connection with Glenda, the Good Witch Glenda, because Dorothy and Glenda play a huge involvement in basically what leads us into escaping Elysium. It was Glenda that summoned Shub Niggurath, but this is where my kind of thought was kind of wondering. This is what I was kind of wondering. Is Glenda is a creation of Mary Sue, but reading more into Dorothy, because Dorothy's suddenly got a little bit more interesting for me, because in Black Souls 2, you discover, like, obviously she's dead, obviously. You find that out in the mental ward when you go through it with zero sanity. I actually kind of failed to realize this. Dorothy's origin is revealed to be that of a little girl who lost her home and parents to a tornado. She was hospitalized in the mental ward, where a nurse gave her a fairy tale to read, The Wizard of Oz, by one L. Frank Baum. Which was written in 1900, by the way. 1900. That was the year that Wizard of Oz was created. The movie didn't come out until, like, what, 1964 or something? Like in the 60s? The book has been around for way longer. Anyway, back to this. Enraptured by the tale, she began playing with her imaginary friends, the Lion, the Scarecrow, and the Tin Man. She also talked of her favorite disciple, whom the nurse teased her about loving. Dorothy then vanished from the ward without a trace, presumably taken by Mary Sue, as others had for the events of Black Souls 1. So this kind of leads me to wonder where our companions in Black Souls... Well, we know Red Hood is. We know Red Hood absolutely is one. And she's the case for this. Dorothy was an abducted human that got turned into a fairy tale. So Dorothy, she was just a random little girl. At one point. And it also kind of led me down a little bit of another rabbit hole. Is like, where does the mental ward come into play here? Is the mental ward just a random mental asylum from real life? Like, why is it in Wonderland? Or why is there a mental ward in Wonderland? Because obviously there's no... oh yeah, Lutwidge too. There's really no lore or anything really kind of discovered. It's just created. Interesting. The mental ward in Letwich Town don't really have any lore entries here, so they're probably just implemented by Toro, just as is, I guess. I don't know. But like the mental ward that Dorothy was originally admitted to in real life was probably just a random mental ward. And when we go through the mental ward also, we see the summon signs that are kind of like making fun of a patient. So they were referring to Dorothy. They were making fun of Dorothy for just being a child. Because she was one. Almost sounds like very belittling dialogue too. And you know what? It actually kind of makes me almost want to boot up Black Souls to kind of go back and see that. In fact, can we do that? Hold on. Maybe we can real quick. Just to kind of like confirm it. I kind of want to do that. Black Souls 2. Can we do this real quick? Please? Oh, that's my external. Whoopsie. That's why. Oh, that's why it was loading. Whoopsie. Anyway, it's on my desktop anyway. Where are you? Black Souls 1 and 2, game, run local emulator, Japanese. Let's go through this real quick. I want to go back and see this myself. Let's go back and read the summon signs. Let me first turn this down so it doesn't blast everyone's ears out. Okay, that's good. I should still have it up here, right? There it is. Uh-oh. Do I... Hang on. Controller, please. Please work. Hold on. Yep. Oh, now my controller's giving me issues, huh? Hold on, just a second. Let me kill this real quick. Okay, now it's on. I still gotta relaunch the game, though. Local emulator, Japanese. Black Souls 2. There we go. Perfect. Continue. Yeah. We're gonna go back real quick to the mental asylum. I need to see these dialogues for myself. Just real quick. Where's the nearest bonfire? There it is. Mental asylum. Mental ward. Alright, yeah, here we go. Let me out of here. It's these right here. Turn back. Girls, boys, everyone, get along. Killed, 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 killed. Oh, here we go. As a child, Ugug fell from a bridge. I don't think this is referring... Wait a second. Thanks to the god inhabiting the lake, he was miraculously saved, but from that day, thorns began to appear on the seams of his... This was referring to the old god in the lake. At first, the thorns were tiny, but as the days went on, they grew larger and more numerous, eventually covering his whole body and making him appear very much like a porcupine. The neighborhood insulted him and called him Uglug, and before long, Ugug grew to hate people. So yeah, That's the former ruler of Castle Thistle. It's over here. I think the dialogues are over here. Red rum! Red rum! Red rum! Red rum! We got it. There. It's here. Is this a petting zoo? All the patients think themselves as protagonists of fairy tales. How detestable. This one's referring to Dorothy then. All the patients think themselves as protagonists of fairy tales. How detestable. It would feel much more refreshing, I'm sure, with all the side characters buried under a pile of waste paper. A rabbit in a waistcoat, a talking sunflower. None of that actually exists in reality. You're just sick. Your elder sister said she saw them. That only means all of your you sisters are mad. Rabbit in a waistcoat. Alice in Wonderland? A talking flower. Where is it? I'm not sure. I found a clinical record with the name JXXX written on it. Harry, no distinctive features, speech manner clear and rational. Comprehension not communion passable but not bad. Main complaint, inability to judge good and this is Holmes. Dirty Harry syndrome. Very likely dissociative identity disorder policy. This is a case this is extremely dangerous. Isolate the subject after intensive care surgery. Postscript. 1888. The patient escaped, vanished like the fog. Yeah, Jack the Ripper. Yeah. Let me guess. That was Jack the Ripper's time, wasn't it? 1888. I wonder. Is there nothing else in here? Prudence keeps life safe, but it doesn't often make it happy. Are there any other files? Darkness ahead. Okay, I don't think... Yeah. Yeah, okay, I don't think that was what I was kind of hoping to find, unfortunately. Anyway, let's get back to recapping here. Yeah, Baphomet sends us to kill Leonard in the Forest of Sabbath, which the good witch Glinda also summoned. Relationships. Good witch Glinda, friend, if not an acquaintance of Dorothy's, the latter is remorseful that she was unable to save her from Shub-Niggurath's wrath. But not too much more is known about the dynamic between the two of them. Relationships. Black Souls 2 DLC 1. Black Souls 2. Vanished from the ward without a trace. That means Jack the Ripper was also taken by Mary Sue, wasn't she? Or either that or by Naruhotep. Jack the Ripper was taken too. He vanished without a trace? Oh, now it's making sense. Dorothy's origin is revealed to be a little girl. Yeah, we know that now. So... Okay, so... This would have to be after 1900 because she was given... She was given the Wizard of Oz to read as a little girl, and she was enraptured by it to escape reality. Dorothy vanished from the ward without a trace, presumably taken by Mary Sue, as others had for the events of Black Souls 1. From the mental ward, Grimm can find her home, depending on her sanity. If he sees it as either a destroyed state or a vision of it with Dorothy inside. In it is in the destroyed state is a bookshelf with an entry of her having a gender identity crisis, a likely consequence of the many revisions Mary Sue made to the actors in The Lost Empire. Yeah, really fucked with her memories. Because Dorothy is supposed to be the reincarnation. Dorothy in Black Souls 1 was originally Oz himself, like the Wizard of Oz. Unlike the Wizard of Oz from the source material, who is just a fraud, Oz was in Black Souls 1 was actually a all-powerful sorcerer. And because like he was kind of getting old, like he started reincarnating into different forms, and Dorothy is now his current vessel, taking on the appearance of a beautiful middle-aged woman. Well, I don't know if I'd call her middle-aged, maybe, but it said middle-age on here. Biography. Not that one. Not that one. Here we go. This one's fine. Okay, yeah, here. This is it right here. She was created from the fairy tale Wizard of Oz. Dorothy was once Oz, an acclaimed sorcerer who rivaled great demons and possessed ambitions to control the world. They killed countless witches and demons in the Sabbath forest, along with her three servants: the Scarecrow, the Lion, and the Tin Man. Though this ended up provoking the wrath of Sabbath, who summoned Archdemon Leonard. At some point, Oz hit his limit of the human body and thus started to use forbidden sorceries, reincarnating many times in an attempt to achieve their ambition of ruling the world. Their latest incarnation is the current form that we see as Dorothy, the self-proclaimed most beautiful woman who still claims to be a man, albeit reluctantly. She serves as the mentor and companion of Grimm after he slays her former compatriots Lion, Scarecrow, and Tin Man, who turn into demon beasts due to the fog of Elysium. Should you try and kill her using the Hotel Poseidon's trap room, she will transform into Chaos Witch Dorothy to fight Grimm, only to fall, dropping the Wizard of Oz fairy tale. Yeah. So that perfectly summarized what I was trying to say. But back to my question. Let's see. Yeah, we need to go back. I think we'll find the answer to my question if we look up Leaf. If we look up Mary Sue. Let's see. Because this is kind of... It might be answered in the one room in Mabel's dungeon where you encounter the library. Leaf, where are you? Where are you, you green little shit? Leaf. This bitch. Who's Carol's wish? Appearance, personality, twisted as fuck. You know what? Actually, I think it would be better if we do... Hold on. Black Souls to Chaos Dungeon Library. 10. Yeah, this is it right here. This is the video in question. Thank you. Shoutouts to 10 for documenting this. Which one? Yeah, here we go. Which one was it? It's only a 2-minute video. We'll go through it. Mary Sue possessed the Lost Empire Elysium, the Crawling One Wonderland, and every great one their own garden. The new garden constructed by gathering a great many souls and sceneries, discarded by those piling them all up on top of one another in chaos. This chess world Shatranj. They mock my jewel boss as a chaos dungeon. Can you not understand how much more dazzling it is compared to your worthless little gardens? Isn't it funny how mimicking human forms you embrace the emotion called jealousy? Born and dropped from a black slimy womb, yeah. She and I were so alike. The mirror. Leader of Darkness, Grand Guignol. It must be this one. I think it's this one. It's so hard to pick with everyone being unique in their own ways, and yet I must. This must be what they call a writer's pain, isn't it? Right, I'll just mix and fuse them all together. That's Mary Sue talking right there. After being summoned by Good Witch Glinda, here it is. This is the one I was looking for. After being summoned by Good Witch Glinda, the black goat of the woods for the 1,000 young took root in that land, intending on ruling it and propagating. And just like that, the black goat was cleanly caught in the Lost Empire, manipulated by Mary Sue to be another actor in her stage. It's just, you know, I wanted to see how Mother would react when she saw my very own tale. It was such a letdown. That's what I was looking for. So yeah, Glinda is a creation of Mary Sue. She intentionally lured her mother into her own garden to be trapped, to be another actor in her play. That's exactly what happened. Good Witch Glinda summoned as planned by Leaf / Mary Sue to be another actor in her garden. I should probably put down. It's like some of the information I'm kind of wanting to put down here isn't necessarily integral to the timeline. They're really interesting factoids and like building the characters, but I don't think they're integral for what I'm wanting to do. It's like you can make easily make individual character synopsises of a lot of these characters in Black Souls, and they would make their own interesting videos. Which actually might be a project I might be willing to undertake. But for now, I just want to piece the timeline together as complete as possible. I mean, like, if I add too much information, it's going to muddy the entire purpose of what I'm wanting to do. So, I need to keep your ADD in check. I don't have ADD, but you need to keep your ADD in check and focus on the objective at hand. There's too much fascinating information that I want to throw in, but it would be completely counterintuitive to what my entire goal is. So we need to pick and choose the most important ones that actually matter. This is one of them, though, because yeah, Glinda, which comes out of the Wizard of Oz fairy tale, which was once a little girl that was admitted to the mental ward, had everything taken from her, only to be abducted by Mary Sue. Glenda, it was a package deal with the creation of Dorothy. Seems like. I'm just gonna just make these notes here. Glenda seems to be a package deal with Dorothy, as she was once a little girl who lost her parents. Biography. And home to a tornado. In true Wizard of Oz fashion. Then hospitalized. A mental ward. A nurse gave her the Wizard of Oz fairy tale read, which she became enraptured by. Generic friends. Lion, Scarecrow, and Tin Man. As well as her favorite disciple, whom the nurse teased her about loving. Dorothy would then vanish a trace, presumably taken by Mary Sue. As others for the events of Black Souls 1. I'm going to put 2 asterisks by that, just as a throw in. And to throw, hang on, her dialogue. Throw in the library dialogue too. After being summoned by Good Witch Glinda, the Black Goat of the woods with 1,000 young took root in that land, intending on ruling it and propagate. Whoops! I hit a hotkey there. Whoopsie. There we go. I never took that hotkey off. Whoopsie. After ruling and propagating. And I'll put quotations around this. Just like that, the Black Goat was cleanly caught in the Lost Empire. Manipulated by Mary Sue to be another actor on the stage of her play. It's just, you know, ... I wanted to see how Mother would react when she saw my very own tail. It was such a letdown. Quotes. Double asterisk. Boom. Got it. All right. That works perfectly. Thank you, 10, for documenting this. All right, just, I wanted to see how Mother would react when she saw my very own tail. It was such a letdown. Yeah, Glinda is indeed a package deal with Dorothy being created. She was abducted. It was summoning her, trapping her own mother in Elysium is what ultimately would be her downfall, though. And obviously it's something she wouldn't have seen coming, because it was a last minute wish before she died at the hands of her own daughter. It was that final wish that allowed Naruhotep to take us back and enter Elysium. Leonard is destroyed. Grim uncovers the Black Trial. Summon Baphomet. Shuttling her out to Elysium as planned by. Well, wait. We also kind of need to figure out, like, this takes place well before. It probably would have taken place like a few cycles after she started fucking with Grimm. This obviously would, because you got to remember, yeah, it would have absolutely have to have been like at least more than one, or at least a few cycles into Black Souls 1. Let's see. Dorothy. Who would be... We should look at Baphomet. Although, hang on. For Baphomet, I might want to take this off screen because her avatar is a little revealing. Baphomet. Can I... Where are you? There she is. Open this, and I'm going to take this off screen just to be safe. Okay. Okay, there's nothing here. Good. Appearance, biography. There's barely anything here. Though she fails to... Okay, yeah, it's safe. It's safe to show. It's safe to show. All right, Baphomet. As an outer god, she sought a way to her daughter's domain to take it over. Oh, that's funny. You thought you were going to take control over someone? She was the one that intentionally lured you in. That's hilarious. As it was a war of, and as is the war and fate between all outer ones. Even if she's your own daughter? However, a way inside wasn't opened by her, but by a witch named Glinda, summoning her in an attempt to impress the other witches of the Forest of the Sabbath. Afterwards, she attacked and stole the role of the archdemon Baphomet from Leonard, a powerful monster summoned by the Sabbath witches to fight against Dorothy. After reducing Leonard to a nameless demon. Oh, this actually answers a couple questions I had about how it went down. Okay, so let's try and piece this together here. Okay. The way inside wasn't opened by her, but by a witch named Glinda, summoned by her in an attempt to impress the other witches of the Forest of the Sabbath. Afterwards, she attacked and stole the role of Archdemon Baphomet from Leonard, a powerful monster summoned by the Sabbath witches to fight against Why? Wait, I thought Dorothy was friends with the Sabbath. Dorothy was once Oz. She said. Oz killed countless witches and demons in the Forest of Sabbath along. Oh, so no, they were not of the same faction. They weren't. Wizard of Oz fairy tale. 12. Wizard of Oz's fairy tale. Okay. Well, that was pointless. Though this ended up provoking the wrath of the Sabbath, who summoned Archdemon Leonard. Okay, so this probably had to... This kind of makes me question a little bit now. Did all this appear before Grimm even arrived? Because Mary Sue is doing all sorts of other shit with other souls. Red Hood especially. So how would Dorothy be any different? Might be. I'm almost willing to bet that Dorothy was just another plaything before she created Grimm. Yeah, Dorothy's story played out. She was once Oz, who killed many countless witches and demons in the Sabbath Forest, along with her 3 servants. This ended up provoking the wrath of the Sabbath, who summoned Leonard, the Archdemon. At some point, Oz hit his limits and thus started to reincarnate, and we now know her as Dorothy. So, it actually does look like that Dorothy kind of had her own story going on before Mary Sue started fucking with Grimm. Same exact, like, situation with Red Hood. Okay, so let's piece this together. Maybe, yeah, let's put these pieces together. So this would be... This would have to be 1990 is when Wizard of Oz came out. Bass soundtrack, but let's skip that one. Oh, that's the first phase of the Carpenter. Okay, that's a nice one. Okay, so if we do the math here, Wizard of Oz, the story came out in 1990, or not 1900. So this would have had to have been after that, but before Lewis Carroll. The end lifespan of Lewis Carroll and Alice Liddell. Okay, 1881. We got the dates written down here, the years especially. The Christmas Party was around 1930 to 1932, looks like. Alice Liddell publishes her memoirs in 1932. Alice marries her original Hargreaves in 1880. Carol horrified by Alice no longer being the young... Yeah, we know that. So it would have had to have been between 1900 and 1930-ish. Yeah, I think this would be a good place to put it then. Yeah, let's start putting that down. Nameless young girl. Yeah. We don't know Dorothy's real name, unfortunately. A young girl. In fact, I could probably just copy paste what I just wrote down there. Just copy that. And then... a little girl who lost her parents. Let's put the year down here. 1900 to approximately 1930. Approximately. Little girl lost her parents and home to a tornado, then hospitalized in the mental ward where a nurse gave her a Wizard of Oz fairy tale to read, which she became enraptured by and made imaginary friends. The Lion, the Scarecrow, and the Tin Man, as well as her favorite disciple, whom the nurse teased her about loving. Dorothy would then vanish without a trace, presumably taken by Mary Sue, as others had before the events of Black Souls 1. Oops, hang on. Shit, hang on. Hold on. What's the... God damn it. I keep fucking this up. Redo. Is it Y? Yeah, it's Y. There we go. There we go. Fixed it. Fixed it. Okay. 1990 to 1932. Da 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 da. We need to add on to that. Same bullet point, just to kind of keep it in line here. Dorothy. Mary Sue. Into Oz. The Wizard of Oz fairy tale. An acclaimed sorcerer. Rivaled great demons and possessed ambitions to control the world. Along with her 3 servants. Along with her 3 servants. Countless witches and demons in the Sabbath Forest. And ended up provoking... Damn it, I did it again. There we go. provoking their wrath, and summoned Archdemon Leonard. Oh, wait. Archdemon Leonard. To kill Dorothy. At some point, Oz hit the limit of the human body and thus started using forbidden sorceries, reincarnating many times in an attempt to achieve their ambition of ruling the world. Their latest incarnation is as Dorothy. As Dorothy. And then we should probably say Dark Souls 2. Suffers under identity crisis as a likely consequence of the many revisions and fuckery of Mary Sue. Made to the many revisions Mary Sue made to the actors of the Lost Empire. There we go. That's pretty important to keep down because this ties into the to ending D of Black Souls 1. This is important to write down. And Dorothy actually is extremely important. She's one of the most important companions in the entire game. Probably next to Jeanne d'Arc, because without her, our journey never would have began. In fact, we should probably look up Jeanne d'Arc, see if we're not missing anything. Let's see. Search. Holy Knight Jeanne. Yep, there we go. Yep. Jeanne d'Arc. Joan of Arc. Yep. Jeanne's Ashes. Combat interactions. Holy Beast. Wait a minute. Is that in Dark Souls 2? Or Black Souls 2, I mean? I've never seen this sprite before. Where do you find this? Hold on. Lore. Jean's design and story heavily reference Jeanne of Arc, particularly her death by burning. Ooh, that's dark. Which is a recurring motif in both Black Souls 1 and 2. In Black Souls 2 DLC 1, her fairy tale and loot are found behind a flaming lava waterfall, reinforcing this theme. Yikes. Hang on a second. I need to see if there's a blurred image there. Oh, okay. It's safe. It's just edgy. Oof. Oh, that's her sprite from the hotel, right? Yeah, that's what that's from. Let's see. Yeah. Jean knows Catherine and asks the player to take care of her. Jean's good ending. Jean's bad ending. The fact that Jean possesses the fairy tale book and Dorothy's origin story indicates she could have previously been human or in some other entity that was kidnapped by Mary Sue and changed with the power of creation into the character she is now. That's what I've been saying with Red Hood and now Dorothy being like the companions in Black Souls 1 were once human. They were once real people. Moreover, according to Dorothy's words, fairy tales are actually summoning books, and Red Hood intending to search for a way to bring the Black Souls companions back. It might be possible that Jean can be brought back from the dead. The same with all the other companions. We can resurrect them. Like maybe in Black Souls 3, we'll finally get that conclusion. We'll finally be able to resurrect them once and for all. This is further reinforced by the fact that fairy tales never truly die, but leave for a mysterious place. In White Castle Town, after Winterbell's bonfire's been lit, but fairy tales don't die. They'll live on in a place you know not. Boy, this music is actually pretty appropriate for this discovery. In fact, let's loop that one because it's very. This is Princess Cootie's palace theme. It's very, yeah. That's something. So all of our companions were once human, and we can bring them back. It's just their souls are in a place we know not, according to the Mad Hatter. Interactions, combat, enemy. I want to know where this sprite is from. I don't remember this. Was this the Chaos Dungeon? Because she's not a boss in Black Souls 1. What is this sprite? Holy Beast Jeanne d'Arc. Where is this from? I fought for my motherland. Despite my female body, I gambled my life, kept battling, always in the vanguard. Difficulty. Oh, that's scales, right? The difficulty of you said in the library, right. I'm just shocked by the sprite that I've never seen it before. Show unique dialogue list. Good or bad, she must be at level 99 or higher and selected after touching the fog. That's Black Souls 1, yeah. Anyway, Jean originates from Orleans. My name is Jeanne d'Arc. I hail from Orleans and came to Fort Ivern to investigate the fog spreading from the Lost Empire. Despite the beliefs she was taught, she sides with the undead player after seeing the light of life in their eyes, and promises to lead them to a safer place, the Holy Forest. Jean is burned to death by the Hellkite dragon in the prologue as the tutorial boss, but the player can revive her to make her a companion or sex slave. After becoming companion, Jean reveals that the Holy Forest was the first place she visited in this country. Jean knows Catherine asked the players to take care of her. It is possible that Jean left Orleans due to the accusations of being a witch, as hinted at in the revival scene. Right? Oh, Orleans, Jeanne d'Arc? No, that's wrong. I'm not a witch. Oh, did she escape persecution? Because in real life, Jeanne d'Arc was actually a well-renowned soldier, and a pretty decent one? Which is extremely already rare that a woman would be good at combat in real life, let alone be a soldier on the front lines of battle. It is possible that Jean left Orleans due to the accusations of being a witch, as hinted at her revival scene, and when fighting Jean after she has turned into a... Oh, that's her demon beast for you can fight her. Okay. Of course, it is likely all these memories are fake, created by Mary Sue. Okay, so they could be fake. You know what I'm gonna do? At the very bottom here, research, Jeanne d'Arc in real life. Jeanne d'Arc's life counterpart. Regarding she was accused being a witch and her merit. I wouldn't say merit as a soldier, just like in her history, I guess. Yeah. We'll put that down for research later. Of course, likely these are fake memories created by Mary Sue. We could probably disprove that if we dig deep enough into the real-life Jeanne d'Arc. Good ending, bad ending. Burning to death, yeah, we know. Okay, there's nothing else really here. Okay. She really, but yeah, it was her, it was this lovely lady here that our journey started at to begin with, and we have her to thank for it. Okay, I think we got Dorothy covered then. Dorothy is like one of the few companions that actually are extremely vital to the timeline, because, as I said, it leads to Shub-Niggurath and then making her dying wish that allowed Narhotep to take us back into Wonderland and progress the story. Baphomet sends to kill it. Alright. Good Witch Glenda. Where were we? Here we go. This is it. Yeah, this is where we were. We published that. We went back and added that. Okay. It's Carol. Package deal. that was just me repeating. I can always delete it later. And then her dialogue, Mary Sue's dialogue, being disappointed after her mother was disappointed with her, or not impressed, which leads further credence to Jabberwock's kind of statements here. It all began with a fairy tale given to a child starved for a mother's love. So it looks like Shub-Niggurath did not really care much for Leaf. I mean, hey, she's born to be hated. Actually, no, probably couldn't say that about that before her personality got twisted by a Jabberwock. I don't think that's really fair to say, honestly. Okay, where were we? DLC. Baphomet sends us to kill former archdemon Leonard in the Forest of Sabbath. Leonard is destroyed, and we discover Glinda's diary and read it with Dorothy. We discover that. Crawling Chaos makes a brief appearance, implying she knows we are in Leaf's garden, but can't really do anything yet. Yeah, Naruhotep pulls a Flowey as we're leaving after we read the diary, but then frankly quickly disappears. She actually pulls a Flowey Undertale. See, then Baphomet has us kill Prayer Master. Good. Little bastard deserves to die for ratting us out to Mary Sue. Baphomet, now with the knowledge of where the Holy Forest is, asks if she can relocate there to destroy, and then ends up destroying it. We confront Baphomet and learn that she is the mother of Leaf/Mary Sue, Shub-Niggurath, the black goat of the woods with 1,000 young. Baphomet's dying wish before Mary Sue kills her allows the crawling Naruhotep to finally enter Mary Sue's garden and take us back. Node prevents the crawling chaos from killing Mary Sue. And let's see. Naruhotep/Pricket, the Red Queen, and Node, which is Nodens from Lovecraft's mythology, the White Queen, strips Mary Sue of her divinity, the power to change/to reverse time, which gave Leaf's Garden the power to send us on infinite loops, only to be reset and sent back in time. And they use this to create the mechanical outer god, the Grand Guignol, so that neither of them could trick one another. This was the key element in making of the dream, allowing for an endless looping and providing a failsafe in case Grimm managed to escape. The cycle system of Elysium was successfully replicated. Node, using Dinah's soul, the Cheshire Cat, now, is tasked with to be both an obstacle and a helping hand for Grimm. She would continue to act as a villain that is meant to keep Alice away from Grimm in an endless loop of cycles that would die and kill her imitations many times over throughout the initial 64 cycles. At the same time, neither of them from their own initiative caused... Wait a minute. Either from her own initiative caused by her admiration for Alice or because of Node. In between her mischievousness and riddles, she would assist Grimm by giving him hints about the true nature of Wonderland, and even going out of her way to warn him about the incoming dangers by spreading the fog in areas containing bosses. Let's see. Am I missing something here? Oh, no, I'm not. Not yet. Actually, this needs to be relocated to a little bit after, I guess. Jabberwock's head was eventually reattached by the crawling one, and she joined the play under the role of Mother Alice, spending most of her time building snowmen around Wonderland. Just being aloof. And then this is a segment that I added just this afternoon. There are outer gods who did not accept the Crawling One's invitation to Wonderland. Among them being the great water god Cthulhu and the parent of Zoa and Kuti, who forbid them from joining. Kuti was eager to escape her cramped home and was tricked by Zoa, the cheeky oyster that we know in game, to steal their mother's staff, the Wand of Relea, and use the Carpenter's Prayer to enter Wonderland. Should probably notes. Add Carpenter to timeline. Carpenter / Walrus. Yeah, Carpenter and Walrus need to add them to the timeline because they're a little bit integral to when it comes to Kuti and Zoa. Ending F. We're still in the the setup to Black Souls 2. Here we go. Wonderland, and use the Carpenter's Prayer to enter Wonderland. Zoa left Kuti alone at the bottom of the sea to spread her influence, while Kuti finds the Carpenter and turns him into her loyal knight and has him build a palace to reside in, patiently wait for someone to come get her, like the prince from the Little Mermaid fairy tale. Kuti is completely oblivious to the nature of Wonderland. Node, Node then joins the dream. The Narhotep's breeding program herself is likely she initially kept residing in Winterbell, where she would be visited and mated with Grimm, just like the other nightmares and heroines. I need to hang on. Where did the crawling chaos, the crawling one. Create a breeding program. To make more great ones. With Grimm. Might need to revise some of these, but it's fine for now. Node then joins the dream, the Narhotep's breeding program herself, where she initially kept residing in Winterbell, where she would mate with Grimm all through his cycles, and she would end up pair bonding with him, falling deeply in love with him. Now this one's important. This one, it's not necessarily... Actually, no, it is integral. It is integral because it revolves around Laurana. There are reasons to believe that Laurana is merely a replacement for the role of the Queen of Hearts, Laurana Liddell. As previously mentioned above, she is clearly not a fit for the role and is the only one among the 4 nightmares who is not an outer god and doesn't play into the role of an Alice like them. There are 2 candidates for the previous queen. The one is the slime show from DLC 3 that tries to lure in Snow Girl Gerda to be consumed, I guess, or dissolved. She's an outer god, mentions not being able to maintain a form of a girl wearing a dress because she's so toxic and acidic. Is jealous of Alice and wants to be her, calls herself a queen on many occasions, and her character fits the role of a tyrant queen quite well, as she's very cruel in her own ways, which is apparent in how she's treated Gerda when she encountered her. Sho is also an outer god who seemingly left the party according to Jub Jub. The god playing the role of an older sister Alice has left the play as well. It makes sense for the older sister Alice to have also been the Queen of Hearts, as every other member of the four Nightmares of Wonderland also played the role of an Alice. The second candidate is the lake inhabiting god, which when I booted up Black Souls just earlier, we were reading the thorns about on that one, the one child, whose soul has been imprisoned in Mabel's Chaos Dungeon and who was killed by Naruhotep. This fits very well with Jub Jub's dialogue, as she mentions it in the older sister Alice, and then follows it up by accusing Mabel of scheming with the Crawling One and trapping gods in her Chaos Dungeon. Sadly, he is really greedy for power and ruling, as he is said to have tried to take over Wonderland in the past, which is what prompted Naruhotep to kill him. Lastly, the outer god is quite cruel in his ways, as he used his power to turn it. Yep, there it is. He used his power to turn a person named Ugug into a terrifying monster, which is what we just read earlier when I booted up Black Souls 2. Also, he uses his thorns to expand his influence, which is aesthetically very in line with the Queen of Hearts and her thorned roses. Still, this is all to be treated as speculation and a theory, as there is no direct confirmation for the existence of a previous Queen of Heart. But this lines up so well. I'm putting this in here regardless, but I guess I'll still have to clarify that it's just a theory and not absolutely confirmed. What is unmistakable is the dialogue regarding Ugug and the lake inhabiting god, though. Because we get all that confirmed after you beat him in the Chaos Dungeon. Okay. Node pair bonds with Grin and falls truly in love with him after a few cycles. Did I... Did I ever mention that she gave birth to several of Grimm's children? Put it down. Make it a point, but put asterisks around it saying I don't know where this belongs just yet. Node gives birth to many of Grimm's children, who are many of the NPCs who can form covenants with throughout Wonderland. Put many asterisks by this because I don't know where to put it just yet, but I want to put it down just to solidify that fact. All right, save. Eventually, Prickett was overcome with guilt and grief for putting Grimm through in the endless cycle of suffering and tried to take her own life, but was stopped by Node. Prickett's self-inflicted wounds created the Pond of Bloody Tears, akin to how Alice's Adventures in Wonderland floods the room with tears after falling down the rabbit hole. Yeah, so the Pond of Bloody Tears is the Crawling One's actual blood, it looks like. Although I thought it was supposed to, I thought the Crawling One's blood is supposed to be like pitch black, but I guess not. Not in this case. And this is confirmed from the Winterbell memory. Dull thuds echo throughout the room. Abdomen, chest, neck. A sharp knife stabs. Wounds open and close, and the only pool of blood keeps spreading. The pitter-patter of tears accompanies the thuds of a knife. Those aren't tears of pain, but only sorrow. With blood and then tears, this room will soon turn into a pond. Prickett genuinely loves Grimm, and she's the only autonomous part of the crawling one that can act and think independently, and doesn't like the way Narhotep treats him. Node was already in love with Grimm at that point, so she bonded with Prickett at that time. With the passing of cycles, Node started to love Grimm more and more, admiring his continuous struggle. It's at this time that she bonded with Prickett. Note that Prickett could act independently of the crawling one at the time. Node eventually passes the ruling of Winterbell onto Prickett, and accepted to cooperate with her on the plan to allow Grimm to escape Wonderland. Prickett had proposed to give Grimm, to have Grimm reach Winterbell and kill the Grand Guignol, granting him freedom. However, unbeknownst to her, Mabel had convinced Node to lead Grimm there to have him to be fused with the machine god to become an Outer One. This would have allowed Node to stay with him for eternity, and to wage war against the Crawling One and other Outer Gods. Node then took the appearance of a white rabbit and left for the library dream, likely as part of this plan. By the time the 65th cycle begins, which is when you start up a brand new save of Black Souls 2, we are officially on the 65th cycle of the breeding program that the Narhotep has set in place for us. Most of Wonderland is filled with her children and Grimm. Oh, so I did mention this. Wonderland is filled with Grimm and Node's children. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do? Hold on. Where did I put that? No, you know what? It's fine where it is. It's fine where it is. By the time the 65th cycle begins, most of Wonderland is filled with her children with Grimm. Most of Wonderland is filled with her and Grimm's children. And she cannot leave the library. There, had to phrase that a little bit better. Black Souls officially starts on the 65th cycle. She may be stuck there because that's her role in the dream. However, by this time, many heroines break character often, such as Jabberwock or Jub. Instead, she might be reluctant to leave because she's protected in the library dream. Indeed, Prickett mentions a place where the Crawling One can't see. This place is described to be tiny and is reached by Prickett and Node by simply taking a walk from presumably Winterbell, soon to be Queensland. The library would fit this description. Moreover, the Cheshire Cat implies her intercourse with Grimm would be unseen by the crawling one after ending G. Yeah. There are no other realistic candidates. This is never explicitly confirmed. Red Hood was allowed into Wonderland with the help of Node in pursuit of the mastermind behind everything, assuming the roaming monsters and chaos in reality for dead Red Hood are Narhotep's doing as well. Her presence was probably part of Node and Prickett's plan to free Grimm, or they simply use her to this end. Regardless, she is not part of the play, and Grimm will only recognize her if his sanity is low, if his sanity is set to 0. If this doesn't happen, Red Hood simply ignores him for the rest of the cycle. Lutwidge Town, Red Hood coming out of the mirror. I'm not really here to help you. The mastermind behind it all of this is in this land. I'm just here to cut off her head. In the rabbit hole, don't really feel like attacking rabbits. Before I came here, I was saved by a white rabbit a few times. Looking back now, it may be thanks to that white rabbit that I came to this world. I have a feeling we're probably going to see Node in Dead Red Hood. Because the Dead Red Hood is supposed to be the events between Black Souls 1 and Black Souls 2. If she says Node was actually kind of looking out for Red Hood, even in reality. Looks like. If this is true, I don't feel like attacking rabbits. Before I came here, I was saved by a white rabbit a few times. Before she came to Wonderland. Multiple times. This dialogue, this sentence right here. This sentence right here gives me a little bit of hope that we are actually we probably will see Node in Dead Red Hood in one way, shape, or form. Looking back now, it may be thanks to that white rabbit that I came to this world. The gods of Wonderland have likely noticed Red Hood, but either haven't taken concrete action. This could be yet another instance of Node and Prickett covering for her. My consciousness dims, my feet are unsteady. I know this feeling, I've felt it before. This is their domain. They must have noticed my intrusion already, and yet they leave me to it. Are they letting me swim on a whim, or is it? DLC 1. I'm not sure if I should add, like, the structure for the base run-through of Black Souls 2. In fact, I'm probably gonna... What I'm gonna do here... Hold on. What I'm gonna do... Shit. Yeah. I'm going to leave it like that. Insert base structure for BS2 playthrough. I'll have to think about this, so I will leave it like that for now. In DLC 1, Grim can find a hidden room in the ship graveyard that leads to an area called the Terrible Tragic Hotel, which is a structure almost identical to the Hotel Poseidon interior from Black Souls 1. If he enters it a few more steps inside while his sanity is at 100 or more, a sound effect will trigger. The screen will adopt a pink tint, and Pinocchio will be behind the counter in his usual place. Grim will be unable to leave the room and attempts to explore more. The cutscene will play of the undead killing each of their previous companions, minus Red Hood, Miranda, Victoria, and Leaf, in reference to ending C from Black Souls 1. Dorothy will be present in denial that Grim had ever wanted to kill her, attributing it to her own imagination. Grim's sanity will be reduced to 0, and Red Hood will be there to investigate his status, telling her that he killed everyone there, while will prompt Red Hood to say that none of it actually ever happened. After this conversation, he talks to her again. She'll express her distaste for the hotel, saying that she's glad that he never used it to begin with. Again, ending C ended up being looped in just because even with Mary Sue dead back in Black Souls 1, we still end up getting looped either way because of Elysium, because of Leaf's garden. The entire power of her garden is one gigantic failsafe. Even if Mary Sue perishes, everything's still going to be reset back to normal. It wasn't until Narhotep breaks in and takes us back that the entire cycle is broken, and that Node and Prickett take Leaf by the throat and strip her of her powers, only for it to be used as a breeding program for Wonderland. That it's finally able to be broken, only to be used again to create more great ones. This renders the ending C's events only as part of the loop and not the actual intended ending of Black Souls 1. So yeah, it's not canon. It never happened. Ending C in Black Souls 1 never happened. The only thing that truly ends up happening is ending D. Once Grimm accesses the little girl's nightmare, Red Hood is guided there by Node again. For ending F, in the event that Grimm decides to side with Mary Sue in the little girl's nightmare, Grimm and Mary Sue defeat Red Hood and the Crawling One's avatar. They return to Elysium together, and the Crawling One manipulates Grimm into raping Mary Sue for years until the Grand Guignol reverts the world. While the Crawling One is simply just watching from above, watching us go at it. Endlessly and mercilessly raping Mary Sue while choking her, because the little shit deserves it for the immense amount of suffering that she's caused. In the events that Grimm sides with Red Hood, they kill Mary Sue with the reveal that she manipulated the soul of Red Hood to die at the age of 20, and for Grimm to be cursed to never have a happy ending as a spiteful last act before being punched in the face and hitting the wall with lethal force by Grimm. Grimm, Red Hood, and Poro defeat the Crawling One and severely weaken her and to escape the collapsing Wonderland. In escaping, Red Hood and Poro get separated from Grimm and fight the Narhotep off to buy Grimm some time. In the fight, Poro unfortunately dies, and Red Hood loses her right arm. We see what might be the real Alice Liddell's soul splitting from Narhotep's body after her defeat, shown by a white space and walking away hand in hand with what appears to be Lewis Carroll's soul, which supposedly split from Grimm at the time. It's not clear what the white space is, but it's possibly has to do with Deoloth, the space in which Mary Sue kept her victims before copying them. Indeed, it is described as being a pure white prison. It is not confirmed, but it could have simply been a white. There was a thing in Lovecraft's lore. Let me see if I can confirm it real quick. Where would I go? Maybe if I look for Node? Black Souls Research, Node. Wait, no. I know one character I know for a fact will have this. One second. Let me change this. Cheshire Cat. Cheshire Cat's entry definitely has this that I'm thinking of. Where are you? There you are. There's the little shit. Interactions. Major spoilers. Locations. Where's the lore? Lore segment. Each scene's lore. Counterpart, Mabel's Chaos Dungeon. What most likely happened is that Node used Mabel's Chaos Dungeon to salvage Dinah's soul, as she has done many times to fill the roles of the Outer Gods play. Shortly after she would die, most likely complications from her pregnancy with Kitty and Snowdrop. What happened next isn't explicitly stated, but is said that after her death, she was saved by Node and took on a role of her own in the Crawling One's Wonderland. What most likely happened was that Node used Mabel's Chaos Dungeon to salvage Dinah's soul, as she has done so many times to fill the roles in the Outer Gods play. So she's not the only one. Dinah isn't the only one that Node used, or that she threw into Mabel's Chaos Dungeon. It should be under the trivia. Dinah, biblical figure, Book of Genesis. The original book, the Cheshire Cat, is the Duchess's cat. According to her own words, a cat similar to her or a different version of her was once her pet in the game. The Duchess does not recognize the smell of the cat as... the Duchess not recognizing the smell of the cat as that of her pet might be a reference to the fact that the Cheshire Cat is Dinah. Yeah, completely different cat then. One of her skills, White Shockwave, has a very similar name to White Shockwave Rabbit, a skill used by Node. It is possible that she has this skill because her power was given to her by Node. Yeah, and Mabel also confirms that the Cheshire Cat is Node's underling. Kind of makes me wonder though, why would Node take particular interest in the soul of this particular cat? Because Dinah would have died in real life long before the release of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and even before Nyarlathotep would have taken an interest in Lewis Carroll to begin with. So why would Node take any kind of interest in the soul of Dinah? That's so interesting. It's like, where does this fit in? Anyway, it seems like it doesn't... Maybe it was under Node. Trivia for Node? Off the Elder God Nodens, who is described as to be a benevolent, opposing the frightening Nyarlathotep, much like the game is seen as ending H, where she opposes the Crawling One with the help of the Cheshire Cat. Her skill, Candith Dream, is also a reference to the story Nodens appears in. Candith Dream? That's the Lovecraft story? H.P. Lovecraft's The Dream Quest. I almost doxed myself. Shit. Okay, so don't ever go on Amazon. Don't ever go on Amazon. Oof. Let's see. Okay. Nodens takes several elements from the plain doll from the game Bloodborne, such as her loyalty and devotion to the player. I'm trying to find the White Realm. I think Mabel might have this too. I think it's Mabel that had it. May May, where are you? Mabel. Mabel absolutely has this on her thing. Dean, the Old King. Ashes Reignited. Winterbell. Where is it? Our God's Emotions. Trivia. Gothic Lolita. Yogg-Sothoth. Yeah, we know that. Mabel dislikes the Cheshire Cat as she's notes underling. Mabel made Uther Pendra drink from her blood from a divine grail, which is most likely the Holy Grail. This could make her loosely related to Jesus Christ, as it is said that he drank it from the during the Last Supper. Uther Pen, the Old King, right? I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm lost now. I'm trying to find. Oh, wait a minute. No, wait. I thought I had it. $10 and $11. Maybe if I just type in Lovecraft, White Void. Terrifying, indescribable, nothing in a matter of time. I don't think that's it. Void of nothingness. Yeah, that's not it. I don't know where to find it. I swear. I thought I had it. Man. Unnamed ending. Node. Look for... Cheshire Cat. It would help the Cheshire Cat in the past with something that... and uses her as a helper until the end. The rabbit saved me, so I was just repaying the favor. Cheshire Cat. White. 35 entries. White Shockwave. White rabbit. Yeah, try... Yeah. White queen's piece. I cannot find it. And I don't remember where it was either. This is driving me nuts. I'll have to give up for now. Okay. Oh, wait, what am I doing? Right here. Is this it? I am an absolute idiot. Deoloth. Deoloth is an entity that dwells beyond the 3 dimensions known to humans, worshipped by on Yuggoth and Tond from Atlantis. What? Deoloth, the render of veils. Immense reality-bending powers that allows worshippers to see through space and time across dimensions. Render of veils. It is prophesied to play a key role in the ending of days by stripping away the veil of known reality. Eldritch Horror. What if I put that into the search for... Search all text. Wait, why is it under Victoria? That can't be right. Snow Girl Gerda? The crawling one. Would it be under crawling one? There it is. Wait, is that's okay. Deoloth. No. It is described as a pure white prison. Pure white prison. 34 and 35. Abandoned station. Victoria's dialogue after making a covenant with her. Forgive my impoliteness. It's not yours, but the stench is clinging to you. The stench of that detestable fairy. I've been kidnapped by her but once before. She held me in a sickeningly white prison. I thought it a dream until that insect appeared before me. So, okay, we found it. We found what it is. It's called the Deoloth. So apparently the Deoloth... This thing? This is a Deoloth. So basically used to hold on to the souls of the Cheshire Cat and like anyone else. Like Nodens used it, Mary Sue used it. Let's see. Is an entity that dwells beyond the 3 dimensions known to humans, worshipped informally in Atlantis. Deoloth's indescribable shape causes viewers to go mad at the sight of him. Thus, he must be summoned in a pitch-black darkness using the Deoloth formula. It is known to take a small amount of blood from the summoner. If not held within some kind of magical containment, such as the Pinnacle of Planes, he continues to expand and expand, perhaps even to an infinite size. Those enveloped by the god are transported to utterly bizarre and remote worlds, usually perishing as a result. Daeloth's worship is rare on Earth. That doesn't... Nothing about a secondly white void. That's weird. All indescribable form, infinite expansion, massive metallic hemispheres, cylinders, and rods. It dwells in higher dimensions, and its sight drives humans insane. Okay. Uh Add this to the notes. Daeloth and the White Void. Alright. Make a note of that. I need to do more research off stream for that. This is taking too long. Ending G. Yeah, okay. Actually, I need to cut and paste. Ending G. There we go. That's properly put in place there. What? Yeah. The possibility is that it was the Daeloth, the space in which Mary Sue kept her victims before copying them. Indeed, it is described as a pure white prison inside the Daeloth. This is not confirmed as it's simply been a white space. Okay, so this entire research right here might have just been bullshit because it's not entirely confirmed. But I guess it is interesting regardless. Grim and Red Hood return to reality, but with the Grand Grignol undefeated, Grim gets looped back into Wonderland, rendering ending G completely worthless. It is likely both courses happened during the cycles. All endings of the first game are canon, but this hasn't been confirmed. After the events of the little girl's nightmare and the temporary defeat of the Crawling One at the hands of Grim, Red Hood, and Poro, the Cheshire Cat would meet Grim in the Library Dreams dungeon. She, similarly to the Grand Guignol from the Oxford University, would tell him that it is not possible to escape the curse of the cycles through conventional means, and would point him towards the past version of Winterbell. With Narhotep severely weakened, and not watching Grim, we travel to the hidden snowfield and enter the door into the past version of Winterbell to defeat the Grand Guignol, which leads to the events of DLC 3. Grim wakes up being inspected by founding Dr. Florence and her nurses, presuming we are unconscious after we pass through the door in the hidden snow garden, and leaves us in a hospital bed in the Crimean nursing graveyard, a hospital for critically and mentally ill patients. Grim defeats Florence after she asks us to return to our hospital bed, and we refuse. If we have Blackwell's letter in our inventory, we are able to give it to Florence and recruit her for the fight against the Grand Guignol as a valuable companion. We arrive in a small jail with a playwright Lord, the creator of the original Grand Guignol, but not to be confused with the mechanical god Grand Guignol, who locked himself in before we set out further into Winterbell. He becomes obsessively jealous and despises Grimm for the Grand Guignol choosing him and not Lord. Lord was not invited to Node's garden, but somehow managed to infiltrate Winterbell. He pursues us and harasses Grimm as a nightmare spirit throughout Winterbell. Grimm encounters a young girl named Snow Girl Gerda, whose design and character are inspired by Hans Christian Andersen's Snow Queen, and possibly a Russian folktale, I'm not even going to say that word, about a snow doll coming to life. Gerda is trying to find her brother Kai, who is found later in White Castle Town. Grimm encounters ghost finder Karnaki in the Avalanche Woods, investigating the carnage left behind Layden and Eunice. The former elite guards of Node. Of the White Queen. Node. In parentheses. Because that's who she was. Grimm sides with either Layden or Eunice and heads towards Castletown. We find Gerda for a second time depending on which path you take, either in an igloo for Layden's path or in a cave in Eunice's path, and we must save her from being lured in and killed by Sho. Grimm then encounters Karnaki again before the chain bridge and asks him to investigate the paranormal being dwelling in the valley. The being in question is the Wind of Winterbell, Ithaqua, an offspring of Shub-Niggurath and Hastur the King in Yellow. Playwright Lord invades us and harasses us on the chain bridge for the first time. Hang on. We defeat the Wind of Winterbell, and Karnaki checks up on us. Add more to that later, just to put it down as a temporary point. We arrive in White Castle Town and encounter March Hare and Mad Hatter, but is it really them? Going through the side passage, we're invaded again by Playwright Lord, disguised as a friendly summon, only to be backstabbed upon opening a chest, as a heavy reference to Maldron the Assassin from Dark Souls 2, the son of a bitch. Depending on if Grimm reaches Kai first or not determines if Gerda is saved or not. If we reach Kai first, we meet Kai as a snowman and asks us to kill him. After Gerda reaches the temple, she'll lament the absence of her brother, and the player will have three options to either kill, rape, or offer her to look for Kai. Choosing to help her, she accepts and slowly turns into the third and final version of her fairy tale, and becomes a incredibly helpful summon for the final boss. Able to be summoned for the final boss. If Gerda reaches Kai first, she will have an argument with what appears to be her brother Kai and ends up shooting him, and Gerda turns into a madness spirit. And we fail in saving her. Karnaki appears in the storeroom in White Castle Town looking for the crown of Winterbell, and we save him from falling into a trap. Damia finally discovers Grimm after endlessly pursuing him across dimensions with the power of his steed implied to be a Hound of Tyndalos. And we fight. After the battle, he will state that he thought Grimm would idle around the garden, before realizing that he's actually grown stronger. He also remarks about Red Hood, telling Grimm to tell her that if she continues to live as a sinner, he would hunt her down without mercy. Damia then states that he plans to rebuild the Black Trial anew, and until then, Grimm's sentencing has been suspended, but tells Grimm not to forget that as long as he's in a garden, he can appear at every sharp corner to hunt. Grimm then fights either Layden or Eunice depending on who we sided with at the beginning. Mabel then appears in the next scene to deal with either Layden or Eunice. Grimm can save Layden, and for Eunice, we can either rape her or let her go, only to end up being burned and crucified by her other fellow feminazi unicorns. Grimm meets yeah, Grimm meets up with Mabel and goes into Winterbell. The four memories can be discovered and gives the player true insight to the story, what actually happened, and why things are the way they are. The plan, the breeding program, the true intentions behind Node, Prickett, and Mabel. The player goes through the visual novel segment in Winterbell. And then, upon entering the castle, we discover Karnaki as he's dying, and he gives us his notebook and his fairy tale to be summoned during the final boss. Mabel guides us down to the stairs to the kill room designed especially for her so that she can terminate her current vessel because she's in out of pure fear that she's going to develop feelings for Grimm just like the Crawling Chaos and Node did. She doesn't want that. Playwright Lord invades us for one last time, and we kick his ass after he thoroughly kicks our ass several times. Lord comes to the realization that the Grand Guignol here is not the one he created and seemingly seems to get erased by Mabel. So, yeah, only Mabel's vessel died back in the trap. Her physical form is gone, is no more, but she's still alive. Which means we probably will see her in Black Souls 3. So May's still alive. Our beloved May's still alive. Grimm summons optionally Florence, Gerda, and Karnaki to assist him in the final boss against the Grand Guignol. Alternatively, if Grimm picks Offer My Soul or give up after losing to the Grand Guignol, Grimm ascends to godhood and becomes a creator to wage war against Narhotep and the other gods. Node, being by your side, is prepared to bear more of your children and love you for all eternity. This gives you a game over, though. This is the bad end. Grimm goes, let's see. Ending H. Grimm, we'll bold this. Grimm destroys the mechanical outer one, Grand Guignol, along with the spirits of with the help of the spirits of Dr. Florence, Gerda, and Karnaki. And puts an end to the endless looping nightmare once and for all and triggers the collapse of the underworld. Node appears before Grimm and acknowledges that she will never be able to have you and confesses that she loves you from the bottom of her heart. And for that reason, she is stepping aside before sending you away in order to buy you time to get away from Narhotep and stall for as long as possible, along with Dinah in her beast form. Bandersnatch, daughter Alice, and Jabberwock, mother Alice, attempt to stop you from fleeing for only Jubjub's sister Alice to break character and strike them down while telling you to flee. Red Hood attempts to help Grimm escape after Grand Guignol is defeated and Wonderland collapses. Crawling Chaos, the Narhotep catches up to Grimm and starts dragging him down into the void, with Red Hood holding onto Grimm's hand with her only remaining arm. Grimm makes the painful choice to sever his arm to Red Hood's protest and falls into the void with Narhotep to prevent Red Hood any more misfortune because of Mary Sue's fuckery. An unknown amount of time passes as Grimm is slowly beginning to be absorbed by Narhotep and losing his memory. Node freezes time and Prickett reminds him of who he is and leads Grimm back to reality. Due to the tampering of her soul by Mary Sue, Red Hood is cursed to not live past the age of 20, and she accepts her destiny and lives happily with Grimm until then. Being a fairy tale character, it's not clear if she's dead or not. Indeed, it seems that fairy tales never truly die, but rather go to someplace mysterious. Mentioned by Mad Hatter. It was Mad Hatter that said that. All right. That is the entire summary of it. That is what I got so far. that seems complete for the most part, but again, I'm gonna have to really think about it and see if there is indeed anything I missed. I actually might reach out to a few people to have them go over this and see if there's any major things I should add. Because there's a lot. There's so much to cover. It's crazy. But I think I'm going to call it here. I've ended up streaming for a lot longer than I wanted to, honestly. So, tomorrow I will return to Elden Ring, to Shadow of the Erd Tree. We just beat Lord of the Frenzy Flame, and I genuinely don't know where we're going to end up from there. So, yeah. With that, I will call it here. So, have a good night, everybody. Have a good night. I will see you tomorrow evening. Bye.